So my name is Ali Baghdadi. I'm a Senior Vice President in Ingram Micro. People know me as the entrepreneur, and I work for the company called Ingram Micro, which is a global distributor today, one of the largest, if not the largest. Cloud is definitely changing many of our partners. Some of the partners aren't really able to adapt so quickly, but there are many born in the cloud partners as well, who really understand that they come from a technical background or from a vendor SaaS, which we call this, software as a service or PaaS, platform as a service, etc. And the cloud really is replacing many of the traditional hardware installations that we have today. So it presents opportunities, but it also presents challenges. It needs investment. It's one of the fastest growing areas within IT today. I mean, I'm just looking at the budget for next year, and our forecast is to grow our cloud business by about 45% compared to this year. And we grew about the similar growth from last year as well. So the opportunities are there. And if you really want to do a fantastic job, look for the best platforms, like the platform called Cloud Blue, for example, which aggregates vendors, and you could white label it, offer it to your partners as well, offer it to your customers, and here you go. And it's remotely delivered as well. I mean, if we look at this region today, countries vary significantly in their economic profiles. So the pandemic definitely created opportunities, and it created also problems. Lack of product, there has been shortages of components that really affected many of the partners as well as many of the end users. But at the same time, the rise in cybersecurity risks have driven cybersecurity products to its most in-demand times of all times. At the same time comes the war between Ukraine and Russia, and that has increased the prices of grain for some of the countries, has created for some time now inflation and created devaluation of currencies in countries that cannot afford to cope with these prices, for example. And that has created challenges. So some countries which are oil producing or gas producing are still okay and actually benefiting from the stability that they have. Some other countries which have been relying on maybe on tourism or on importing goods such as food, medicine, and oil are suffering. So we're trying our best to support those countries. We have something called Ingram Micro Financial Services, and we are supporting those countries to the best of our ability. I have been not only built cybersecurity, but for Ingram, I've been an executive sponsor for Ingram's cybersecurity focus, and now it's becoming one of the top strategic focus areas for for our technology platforms. I helped create what we call centers of excellence that offer services and consulting in cybersecurity in America, in Mexico, in Dubai, in the Netherlands, in Belgrade, in Singapore, in India. And this collective power of knowledge has been helping our presence in 66 countries to develop and offer solutions in cybersecurity to hundreds of thousands of customers. It's a significant part of our business today, and that's where I can stop. So attacks by hackers and by threats, cyber threats, whether it's for commercial gain or by countries against other countries, have risen almost by 60% a year. And it is a highly costly problem today to many countries. I mean, if we look at some of the attacks, not only on companies, but also on infrastructure, like pipelines that produce oil or transfer oil from one country to another, or on supermarkets that have caused the closure of many. So today, we have to ensure that the cybersecurity solutions that are out there today, one, are driven by artificial intelligence and clever ones. Two, they address all aspects. Now we work from home, we rely on cloud, we have to secure all of that. Also, countries have started to put data protection acts, whether it's GDPR in Europe or certain protection acts here in this region, whether it's in the UAE or in Saudi Arabia. And the data and the data protection has to ensure that this data is not taken and hidden or stolen by people in what we call the dark web. So we are always looking for the next generation of cybersecurity, whether it's XDR or SOAR or SIEM or many of the new words that are now covering. Actually, I asked my team to create an online kind of directory of cyber security names, and we have hundreds of names, some new, some old. It's not just the old firewall, but some of the names that are coming out every day. And of course, some of the attacks as well, and the methodology of the attacks, for ransomware and using cryptocurrency to grab your money and so forth. Really, it's a nightmare, but it's a war that we have to win. Of course, so cloud has always been, we've invested in cloud for the last 8 years. It's just became a big hype now, right? Hybrid is another kind of talk. What is hybrid? Really, it's because people went home and they're using laptops instead of and they're using web, and they're using virtual machines on other people's computers and data centers and so forth. So hybrid is important. Protecting it is as important. Connecting it is very important. Telcos providing high-speed connections are important, secure connections and so forth. So hybrid. But there's a lot. Everybody's talking about digital transformation. Tell me what that is. It's all that. It's everything. But when you get down to a word like AI, what is AI? It is so many things. I have studied AI when I was at universities many years ago, but it's nothing like what we have today. We have machine learning, we have reinforcement learning, we have deep learning, we have. And these are all different research topics within AI. It's not just a robot. So automation, being faster than criminals, beating the criminal, and protecting people's livelihoods, people's money, etc. This is really a major objective. But like you say, there are so many terminologies floating about. What is metaverse, right? It's a virtual world that Meta is creating. Will I go and spend time down there? I don't know. Some might be. Yeah. Is it good for people to be locked in? It sounds like a movie, but who knows what will come out of it. Always open to new technology, and something will come out. We'll see. This is absolutely important, and I have always seen myself and my team and Aptech as a place for people to learn and graduate. I worked at universities. I worked at the Imperial College in London for 5 years actually, and that's when I actually started my company as a student and as a researcher. And as of today, I still ensure and insist that we work together with academic institutions. So whether it's schools, we work with schools here and work with startups here. We have interns who are still not graduates from school. We have interns who are from universities. We work with startups to advise them as well. This is really important because our role, if we've been successful in something, I think we have to pass that knowledge to the next generation to ensure that they succeed and they contribute to their own families and communities and countries. We also collaborate with Imperial College, or at least myself. I supervise several projects at Imperial College, and I ensure that they collaborate together with industry. And there are bodies starting to emerge that actually encourage this collaboration between academia and industry. And that's the only way we can get solutions, like the solutions that came out to solve the pandemic problems were actually between academia and industry. And that's where I see a really important collaboration. Yeah, Ingram has transformed into a solutions provider, right? So it has really, I joined Ingram exactly 10 years today, and I wasn't planning to stay 10 years, but here I am. And the only reason I'm here is because I have the ability and the encouragement of the board and the management to help build things like I did with cybersecurity and now with AI, for example, and any other areas. And I've seen the transformation of Ingram over those years. And I think some of us who are in the senior management are enjoying the role that we're playing, because we're still almost like entrepreneurs building up the company. So we continue to do so. Okay, so here's the truth. When I was a student, a PhD student, I started AppTech. And my first invention was an operating system that operated in about 10 languages, as well as some other invention. And a company called IBM decided to show it to the Middle East. So under the sponsorship of the Department of Trade and Industry in the UK, which is where I started, they asked me to attend a place called Dubai, which was opening the very first exhibition that was called GITEX. That was 1981, 41 years ago. I have attended every GITEX since, except the last 2 years during the pandemic. That's GITEX for me. There was only 23 exhibitors then. Yeah, and they weren't from the computer industry either. Some were furniture companies, but some were really big names like IBM, and some have gone now. I started as a manufacturer and a software house. I had those two. And then gradually I started to incorporate product that I bundled with what we manufactured and distributed. And gradually became a distributor. The software house still exists, but it's outside of Ingram. So I still sit on their board. I sit on the boards of about 8 different companies outside of Ingram, and they're all companies that I started at one point or another. Oh boy, yeah. I think the biggest lesson that I had was to recognize my weaknesses and what I'm good at. And if I'm weak in some area, I had to find people who are strong in that area. So we work as a team. You can never make it on your own if you want to get big.